That's a very thoughtful question. If you were to really sum up why our marriage works the way it does, I would say it is testing, testing.
What are you planning to do? Welcome back, you radiant beings, on this special episode on the podcast, part two of the series where I am having soulful conversations with my soulmate. If you did not catch up on the first episode in this series, please go back to the previous episode, catch up on that, and then come back to this one. And in the meantime, just so you know, we did, I think, 2 or 3 sittings to get this part of the series captured because that's truly the extent of what our schedules look like right now. But like I said, bringing you all for the behind the scenes because I don't need to share those details with you, but I'm telling you like what it takes behind the scenes to make something happen, and the fact that we just continue to keep showing up imperfectly perfect and perfectly imperfect and keep going from there. With that, without further ado, let's jump right in. Welcome to the Inner Golden Hour podcast, where dreams take flight, mind, body, and soul get a serious holistic upgrade, and personal evolution transforms into a shared spiritual adventure. Consider this your dedicated sanctuary for exploration, self discovery, unfiltered truths, diverse perspectives, and some much needed heart to heart real talk. Hi, I'm your host Kusum. I'm a mindset and manifestation life and business coach. Think of me as that best friend you never knew you needed. The one unafraid to call out your BS, deliver a dose of tough love, and hit you with some truth bombs. This podcast is more than just a series of episodes. It's a transformative experience guiding you to dig into your truths, ditch those old limiting beliefs, and fully embrace the real authentic you. It's an invitation to align your mind, body, heart, and soul, to dream big, to explore what truly lights you up, and to manifest a reality that surpasses your wildest imagination. Envision this space as the magical golden hour when everything radiates with a breathtaking glow, revealing the depths of your inner world. Now, come along and immerse yourself in a perpetual flow of inspiration, insights, and massive transformation across all areas of your life. Let's explore the extraordinary, one enlightening episode at a time. But before we jump into this episode, slide into my DMs or send me an email with the word quantum if you are ready and willing to claim this year to be your quantum leap year as well. And if you listen to episode number 13 on this Inner Golden Hour podcast, you know what I'm referencing. So it doesn't matter if this is January or May or November. Let's just say the next 12 months, if you're willing to claim this to be your quantum leap here, I am ready to help you with that. I am ready to let you in on that secret. So send me the word quantum and I got you covered. All right, people, we are back at it. The part two of the episode. So I will pick up where we left off yesterday with my husband yawning because that's how he feels about our podcast right now.
Hey, it's my coffee time.
I get the clue. Okay, so the question that I was asking you yesterday as we wrapped up was because we've been married for, not because we've been married for. The question I was asking.
Sounds like a concern.
That's exactly why I said, let me rephrase that. Given that we've been married for, see, that's better. Given that we're married for 13 years, one of the things that I keep hearing, or one of like, it's almost like it's set in stone that marriage has to be hard. Being in a relationship has to be hard. And one of the things that I've heard over and over and over again is that marriage is hard. But honestly speaking, I have never felt that our marriage has been hard, not in any of the phases of our lives. Like we've been through a lot. Yes, there have been ups and downs and whatnot, and we've had to navigate a whole different bunch of things in the last 14 years. But it's never felt like our marriage was hard work. So I want to hear your thoughts on what do you feel? Do you feel like our marriage has been hard work, or yeah, what's your perspective on that?
Interesting question. The term hard work itself is very subjective because I don't intend to speak on behalf of couples that may have gone through various kinds of risks or other kinds of situations in their life that may have made it harder. But does marriage need effort? Yes, definitely. I don't think in marriage it's a 1 plus 1 equals 2 formula, because at different times in your life you may need to play different kinds of roles. Like in other words, it's not an equal weighted engagement between the husband and the wife, or the couple.
You're talking about engagement, like, engagement in terms of work, where, dev team needs to be engaged at this
I
level
guess
and
I need to
product
bring
team.
my
Yeah, can you please
technical
let go of
skills
your
back into this
product
discussion.
manager role aside and come on the podcast as my husband?
Fair enough. Yeah, what I meant to say is the work that each partner has to put in can vary depending on the phase in your life and what's going on in your life. And one of the things that I feel we have done a really good job of is trusting each other and having those discussions ahead of time so we can set expectations. And I think most importantly, because we trust and love each other, I think we have been able to kind of voluntarily take on that role when the other has something important going on in their lives. Like, take for instance, when we decided that I would do my MBA,
You mean when I put my
right?
foot down and said that if you want to really
Like,
do
is
your
there
MBA,
any
this is
situation in our life where you've not put your foot down?
what can I say? I am the
So,
action taker. I don't waste any time.
I
And
mean,
you were sitting on that decision for a while. So I had to put my foot down and say that if you're going to do your MBA, this has to be the year. Otherwise, you can forget about your MBA.
yeah, that's totally true. You have definitely been the action taker, and also the one that ensures we're taking decisions on time, the right decisions on time.
Yeah, right
And
decisions
I'm
is the
somebody,
keyword, okay?
yeah, I'm somebody who noodles over decisions, because especially with the pros and cons for some time, and having you as a sounding board has really helped in how our relationship has moved forward over the last 14 years.
And as you say, I know you want to continue on that topic, but I also want to, as you're speaking and saying sounding board, I feel like I've been more than the sounding board. Not because I want to brag about it, which of course I will, but the point I want to make there is more than the sounding board, I've also been that person who's asking you questions. It's not just I'm hearing what you're saying, it's not just I'm listening to what you're saying, but I'm also bringing other perspectives, and I'm also like having you stretch and think beyond what you might be thinking in that moment. So
Oh yeah, that's a big plus one. Let me add to that. I think it's not just that you ask me questions that help me introspect and come up with decisions, but it's also the other element you bring to the discussion is you think forward, you think ahead. I tend to stay more in the current, and when I'm looking at pros and cons, I don't think too far ahead into the future. I think you're somebody who's been a planner. Like, for example, if I go back to our decision to do my MBA, we were going through lots of hard questions. Where should I do the MBA? Should I be quitting my job? Should I do a 2-year MBA versus a 1-year MBA? Are we financially okay to do something like this? If I quit my job and do something like this, what happens to my visa situation? Will we end up staying in the US, or are we comfortable staying, moving outside to some other country? What if it's Canada? What if it's Europe? What if it's Asia? I mean, we had so many questions, and then there was, it was so easy to be just inundated with having answers to all these questions, even though my internal desire was that, which had been for a while, was to really do an MBA. Right? I didn't want to live through my career and later on realize I had this regret. And mainly it was also because not just to expand my network and opportunity, but it's also about doing something different than what I've been doing. Because I felt I had stagnated in my career growth, and I really didn't want to take on the role of my manager. Right? So it was more a question of I didn't have alternate career choices, and I was using this as a stepping stone to help make a decision. So in other words, MBA itself was a decision to help make other decisions in the future that would put us on a good, prosperous path for our family. And you challenged me, and you started talking about our family planning, when we're going to have kids, and we factored in a whole bunch of other things that I was not really paying attention to, because I was just in the heat of the moment. I was just focused on all these other concerns, for which, not that I had answers for all these, but I was just possibly going in circles, repeatedly thinking about the same problem space. and you came in and you questioned some of these things, and we actually put a timeline to that decision.
You mean I put a timeline to that
Yeah, which
decision?
is
Yeah.
what made me finally evaluate some of the constraints, and based on which I narrowed down my school choices. And we really made a decision that, okay, if I don't get into this school, I was not going to go, right? Because we made a decision to do a 1 year MBA, so I was not out of role for more than a year. I'd already had 10 years of experience, so I really didn't feel like being out of a job for 2 years. And more importantly, especially in the US, the choices were few. We decided to stick to the US, and we decided to hedge all of our bets on just the Cornell program, which was pretty much the only Ivy offering a 1 year MBA at that point. And a lot of things fell in place once we made that decision. Even our visa situation, everything was a big unknown. But later, when I actually got my job offer at Amazon, is when I realized I didn't even need to worry about my visa situation, because I was in this bucket with where I could get some H1 extensions, and the fact that I switched back to a student didn't matter. Anyway, that's another, that's probably topic for another discussion. But there were so many unknowns even after starting the MBA, not to mention the huge loan and the fact that I had to find a job before graduation so that I was in the right visa status. But I guess things just fell in place, right? And throughout, not once did I have to think about how would we, what challenge would this put us through. I mean, I don't think there's been any time in our lives where I've had to think through, oh, this is a challenging situation, but how will that affect our marriage? Because I always felt the strong presence that you were in my life, the rock that you were. And I mean, even throughout my journey in the MBA while I was in Ithaca, you used to commute back and forth every weekend from Jersey just so we could spend more time. And you wanted to make me avoid the commuting time so that you could just come in, spend time with me, as well as also get to know my cohort, right? Like, and became really good friends with my entire batch. So, I mean, there's a lot more to share there, but just circling back to the question, why do you think our marriage is not that hard? That trust is a key element. The fact that we've been able to step in when the other needed more time to focus on, whether it's their personal journey or career or whatever it was. I think we've been there for each other. And more importantly, I think we beyond being a sounding board and making decisions collectively, and as I've mentioned it a few times earlier, the shared set of values that we both live by is what makes our marriage tick in such a way that even to this day I feel grateful that I met you, and more importantly, grateful that I made the decision.
You mean
And
I made you
I
make the
knew
decision?
I was waiting for that. I actually
You were.
set it up for you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, can't thank my stars enough that we ended up as a couple and we're going strong despite being 14 years.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, and oh my God, I had forgotten about the Cornell episode of you doing MBA. And when you were speaking, so much of what you were saying is reminding me of how my mindset was back then and how much it has evolved over the period of these last 10 plus years since you went into, yeah, you were at Cornell in 2014, right? Yeah, so exactly 10 years. Wow, all the nitty gritty things that I would think about, and not like some of the questions that you brought up. If we were to make that decision today, I'm just thinking of myself and how I would be approaching making that decision. It would be an absolute no brainer. I would not give any weight to any of those questions that were like concerns like that you just brought up. I'd be like, okay, that feels right. How does it feel in my body? Does that feel good? And I'm just gonna tap into my intuition and let's go. That's just how I would be making the decision versus sitting there and weighing all the pros and cons and all of that. All that to say, wow, how much have we evolved and how much has my mindset evolved in just these last 10 years. And that also goes back to saying that we were such different people when we met each other,
I know.
right? And we are such different people right now, but also there's so much about us that's still the same, and so much about us that's almost
Evo.
unrecognizable right now. And I think that when you're talking like the hard part about a marriage, I think that's why people say it's hard, and we've not found it to be hard is because we've evolved as people alongside each other. And this is something that I always acknowledge and say that, hey, our marriage would not have been as strong as it is, and we would not be so in love with each other even after 14 years if one of us evolved and the other person did not. And I think that is the biggest takeaway here is, in a relationship, whatever relationship that is, you're constantly going to evolve. Like majority of the people, they're evolving. You're not going to be the same person that you were 10 years ago, 15 years ago when you met, right? So it's so important that you evolve together as a couple. While you will evolve individually, it's also important that you evolve together as a couple. Goes back to the same point that you were making, that our values, they've not necessarily remained the same. Our values also have evolved over the last 14 years.
Oh,
When
yeah,
we met, what was important to us is different from what is important to us right now.
Yeah, I mean, personal growth was not even something that I had thought of as a
A
value,
core value
a
that
core
we
value
cannot live
back
without
then,
anymore.
right? I felt, you're born with certain qualities and you have a certain nature, and when you're friends with people and you observe various different kinds of personalities, you just assume that's kind of who they are. And just in the last 5 years, if I go and look back at our growth, especially you, in terms of how much you invested in your own personal journey, which has been a huge influence to not just me, but also our kids, it's just amazing. Like you said, internally, I think we are very different. We've become very different people than what we were before, though our core values, the primary core values have not changed, but we've added some more core values that have become really, really important in our lives.
Yeah, definitely included more core values, and also adjusted is,
Yeah, I was going to say
yes,
adaptability, right?
correct. Yes.
Yeah, we've always been open to, new ideas or new ways of thinking. But I think till personal growth became part of our value system, I did not realize how much that resonated with what was missing in our lives. Right? It's not that I was thinking of it as a miss, but if I look back now,
Yeah.
how many times have you and I had a discussion where we said, if only I had this knowledge 10 years ago,
Yeah.
but
Not knowledge, this
whatever,
level of wisdom.
yeah, right, knowledge or understanding or interest even, like how, and even how we used our time back then to how we use our time right now. Oh my god, I think it's just mind blowing how much we utilize and how much we hate wasting time in unnecessary things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It's
that
not just
is.
being busy, but it's actually leveraging the time in the best way possible that allows your growth on a daily basis. Not, you're not waiting for some year end goals to do things, but we're actually investing in it on a day to day basis.
Oh my god, spoken like a true coach.
Well, I mean, if you got to be influenced by some of the coaching that you give me for free on a daily basis.
Are you sure it's free? Have you checked your credit card bills? Okay, that's yeah.
Well, it goes back to, I guess, our trust value system.
But no, on a serious note though, going back to like how we used to make decisions back then versus how make decisions right now, and just the thought process behind it, right? I feel like, oh my god, we used to spend time thinking about the things that were so trivial, and we used to blow them up and think about it so much. Versus now, I make decisions left, right, and center on an ongoing basis, whether it is like investing $20,000 in myself. On like, I just attended an event, I had no plans of investing this money, and then I go there, sign up for something, and I come back and tell you, and you just laugh. You're like, yeah, why am I not surprised, right? And I also want to bring about one more thing that when you were talking about your MBA. I remember last year, because this is something that I keep sharing with some of my clients when we are discussing money and whatnot. Also, how our mindsets have evolved about how we spend money, or just generally, mindset around money is such a big deal right now, because that truly makes it or breaks it. your mindset about money can be a real deal breaker. I see people who make a ton of money and yet they still suffer with insecurities around it, versus people who don't make as much money but they have such amazing relationship with money, because of course at the end of the day it's still a relationship that takes their life to a whole other level. And one of the examples that I give to people, I don't know if I've shared this with you or not, but I've shared a part of this with you, is I remember when I started off in this journey of entrepreneurship. I don't know if you remember, there was this time where there was a course that I saw, I think something related to blogging, which cost about $100. And I sat on that, making that decision for over a week. I was asking you, I was thinking about it, we were discussing, blah, blah, blah. I took until the very last minute to sign up for it. And it was $100 course. And that was right off the bat of me still having money in my savings account because I had just quit my job. It was not too long after quitting my job when I came across this course. And finally, I made the decision and invested $100. This was 8 years ago. Fast forward to when I started investing in myself, when I realized the value of investing in yourself, like that is the biggest investment you can ever make. It's not the house you own, it's not the number of cars, it's not the designer anything. The biggest investment you can make, not even in the stock market because you are into that and not me as much, is investing in yourself. And since I started investing, I was running the numbers during tax season last year, sometime in June, and I ran the numbers and I saw in 3 years I'd invested over $96,000 in myself. And I shared that with you when we were in the car and we were driving, and you didn't even so much as blink an eye. It was just as if I was just sharing another piece of information with you. The reason I'm bringing that up is to say that even your mindset about so many of these things have evolved, including the money mindset. And for you to just be there, like when you see me doing all of these other things and when I'm investing money in myself left, right, and center. And latest update, by the way, by the end of last year, this was mid year last year where I'd invested about $96,000 in myself, invested, not spent, right? By the end of 2023, I'd invested about $110,000 in myself and my business. When I made that statement, you didn't so much as blink an eye, but you made a comment that, oh, that's just as much as, I spent on my MBA. So, yeah, what do you have to say about that?
Since the pandemic, when you made the first move to get into coaching, basically had an open mind at that time, right? Because neither of us knew much about coaching, but I learned a lot more about it through you. I was doing it as part of my job, but I was not thinking of it as a service that you'd be giving to people. I didn't know personally anybody who leveraged a life coach.
How
But
sad is that, by the way?
I know,
Like,
right?
how
I mean,
sad is that our
little
circle?
did the past me 5 years ago know the value of that. But subsequently, when I saw the passion in you and why you felt like that was your calling, that was your dharma, so to speak, that was your purpose. And I remember you even conducted some coaching sessions for me,
Yeah. And you were blown
right?
away.
And
No.
I was, no,
Let's
I
hear it.
was,
Let's confirm or deny that fact.
yeah. So I was
Don't worry,
really
you'll still get
amazed.
dinner,
I
regardless of what you say.
I was really amazed at how effective you were in kind of leaving our baggage behind, despite
Baggage behind.
having
Oh my god, you make
having
that
been
sound so
married to me
horrible.
for so many years, and how you were literally able to treat me as a client and probe further. That made me think, and you asked a lot of hard questions. I was like, wow, now I know why this is your calling, because it came so effortlessly for you. I think that, maybe if I go back in time and think about it, maybe that was a pivotal moment when I realized how fast you are wanting to grow in this space, how you want to really have an impact on, on more number of people, and that your journey had not stopped, your journey was not going to stop there, right? That was possibly the
It
beginning
was
of
just the
something new.
beginning.
And since then, I know you are, despite saying you don't invest here, you don't invest there, other than yourself, I mean, and your business, I know you're pretty diligent with the relationship you have with money and also how you treat and value money. In no way are you somebody who carelessly spends on things. You're very conscious where you invest. And there is a certain set of influential folks that you've started following that you trust, and you trust because the quality of their offerings have consistently been good and have had a huge impact on you. And you've always been that force multiplier where you impart what you learn to me and to our kids, right? So
And
there
to
is,
my clients.
yeah, and to your clients. So I've stopped thinking, even though I may have my own qualms about how I invest, which also has relaxed a lot from that example you gave me, 10
Mm-hmm.
years ago, because I know we did discuss that.
Like
Like
$100.
when
Come
when we both were
on.
actually working, we were possibly, no, that was after you had
That was
quit, right?
after
And
it.
maybe we were still in the initial phase of, oh, we have a loan to pay, we have this huge MBA loan to pay. We didn't own any houses. We have, rent and other things. Everything was based on one income. And I think we were possibly trying to get used to that fact, and we probably gave more weightage to money than anything else, right? And that has significantly evolved since then. And the rest, as you called out, is because I'm seeing your growth through that, and I know your passion. I know you're meant for something really great and awesome. I think it's just a matter of time. So I have come to, I've never, I don't even have that thought, or like you said, I didn't even bat an eyelid. I don't even get like a, alarm or anything on to that effect when you're investing in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we could do a whole episode on money mindset and we can keep going and going and going. And I don't want to make this discussion around money mindset, but there's so much to unpack there. Like, I've had to unpack, and it's not about like, am I saving or am I spending or those things, but it's just the relationship with money. Again, like I said, so much to unpack. We'll talk about that another time perhaps. But one of the things that you were talking that also, reminded me is when you went to Cornell is when I also learned driving. Necessity is the mother of all evil, and I never drove in India, and that was the first time like I was really literally driving, so I could come meet you every other weekend in Cornell, every weekend or every other weekend. Going from without driving to be able to like drive 4+ hours to come see you in the morning, like early in the morning. I would to come meet you way early in the morning because on Fridays I wanted to make the most of our time, and I would leave at 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. And that's just continued in our life where I am leaving either early or late to come meet you.
It started from our first date.
Yeah. So again, just to circle back and close the loop on the discussion that we were having, I think one of the biggest things that has not felt like our marriage is hard work is we know each other's language. I think we are very early on we understood what each other's language is and what is important to the other person, and not just understanding, we truly respect what is important to the other person. I don't have to necessarily have the same interest, but the fact that you have an interest, I respect the fact that you have an interest like that and you do that, and we are always supportive of each other. Like, just an example is was like life coaching, right? When it came into my life, you didn't know how important or how this was going to be a life changer for all of us, not just me, right? For you and for our kids too, how it's been impacting them too right now, because we don't no longer parent like we would otherwise parent them. Everything is happening through the lens of a coach, right? We are still parenting them, but we are parenting them like coaches, and I'm parenting them through the lens of manifestation. Like, so much of how we parent them revolves around our basic principles around coaching or manifestation, all of those things. And our son obviously is a better manifester than any of us in our house because he's a specific manifester when it comes to human design. Again, going off on a tangent there. Yeah, so for me, from my perspective, it's not been hard at all. Like, I can't believe
You're
that we just
welcome.
celebrated. Did I get it lucky or did I get lucky? You got lucky. So did I. Anyway. Yeah, so marriage that way, our marriage has not felt like it's been hard work. I've never had to be somebody I'm not. I've never had to live with any kind of, oh, I wish I did this, I can't do that because I'm married now, or oh, I wish I could say this, I can't say this because I'm married now. If anything, it's as if I've just gotten more permission to be myself. Not that I needed permission, right, to be myself, but just the fact that you've always been the person who's not got in the way of me being me. because that's the notion that I grew up with, that when you get married, your life, especially when you are a girl, when you're a woman, your life is going to not be what you want it to be, but it'll rather be what your husband wants it to be, because we are very much in a patriarchal society. And I still see this, like, even among people that I hang out with on an ongoing basis, when they are in it, perhaps they don't realize that, but patriarchy is very, very evident. And how there's always the upper hand of the man being the man of that marriage and having a say that holds a higher priority than what the wife or the woman in the marriage has to say. So that's my observation and what I've also grown up seeing around me. And I think that was, again, one of the things that I was very conscious of, that I wanted or didn't want in my marriage, was this. And like I said, you are my biggest unconscious manifestation. So when you believe and when you want that, that's exactly what you want your marriage to look like. I never thought when I was growing up that marriage was going to be hard work, and lo and behold, our marriage has not felt like hard work. Okay, here's the real people. Vinay just jumped off because he had to hop on a meeting. So I'm going to continue that chain of thought and capture that before I lose this question again and we have to come back to that. So I will record that and I will have him back when we continue the recording of this episode. Again, like I said, keeping it as real as possible and bringing you along for all of the behind the scenes. And with that, to really sum up some of the things that we've been discussing in terms of whether marriage is hard work or not, according to me, marriage is not hard work. Does it require work? Absolutely, because it requires us to make a choice every single day and to choose each other every single day. And for us, what has worked beautifully is being ourselves with each other from the get go without having to fake who it is that we are in front of the other, and the other person understanding who each of us truly is, right? Even when we've evolved, even when we've been going through confusions of, hey, I feel really lost right now at this point in time, not like we're expecting all of us, either of us, to have all the answers, but we are okay to hold the space for each of us to find ourselves and our truth in that moment. And I think that has made a huge impact. And the level of communication that we share, the respect we have for each other, the love we have for each other, the understanding we have for each other, and neither of us are trying to change who the other person fundamentally is. Now, while we are constantly pushing each other to strive to be a better person, we are constantly challenging each other. You're challenging me, I'm challenging you. We are always pushing each other to get better and better and better. And we also welcome that. None of us are saying that, hey, this is the only way that I'm going to ever be for the rest of my life, right? We're constantly offering each other different perspectives. You're questioning me, you're asking me the hard questions just as much as I do. You're having me think about things that I might sometimes not think about. And also, sometimes it's uncomfortable to think about, right? It's easy to just turn the other way and say that, hey, I don't want to deal with that right now. But we don't let each other off easy. We hold each other accountable on all accounts, whether small or big. We don't spare each other, right? And we don't just come in with the excuse to say that, hey, that is just who you are, so it's okay for you to be that way. You don't ever, let that go. Because I've always been the person who's had, like, my anger at the drop of a hat. I can go from 0 to 100, which of course has evolved over the last several years when I've understood that anger is neither good nor bad. It's again another emotion, and as long as you know how to process that anger and come out of that anger, it's all good, right? So that's something that we've continued to learn and hold space for each other while also helping the other person get better. And we are both such open minded people. Like, the growth mindset has been the center core of our relationship, I'd say, where we are never saying that, hey, this is the only way that I'm going to be, this is who I am, and I am going to be this person for the rest of my life. No, we are both so open to say that I don't know yet, I'm still figuring that out, and we are also helping each other figure that out. And when we don't know exactly, we are trying to be patient with one another, right? It's not always easy, but we are choosing. So at the end of the day, is it hard work? Maybe you call it that if you want to make it hard work, but for us, this is part of being in any relationship, right? In any form or fashion, this is how you are in any relationship. You have to show up, you have to put in the work, you have to make a choice, you have to be there for each other, you have to be helping the other person get better and better and better. Otherwise, I don't see what the point of that relationship even is. So from that perspective, I think we are such pillars of strength and support while it comes to supporting the other person. At the same time, we don't turn away from the hard stuff either. We are okay to say that this is hard. I don't know. I'm still trying to process this. Like, even this, the last few weeks, we've been in certain discussions where we are, constantly saying, I don't know. Oh, that's a good point. Thank you for, helping me see that. And I say that to you, you say that to me. You're always offering me different perspective. I'm always offering you a different perspective. And for that, we continue to keep getting better and better and better. And we still continue to have arguments, like, over silly things. And that's not changed. And I don't want that ever to change, because that also keeps the relationship alive, I guess, because I have an argument this minute, and the very next second we are kissing and hugging and making out, and that's just part of a relationship. Not that we are brushing things under the carpet. We are acknowledging, we are addressing what's not working, and we are saying, okay, how can we make this better for ourselves, for just the two of us, as well as because of course our children are watching us and growing up, and how can we be the example, the role models of how to be, whether individually or in a relationship or as couple or even as parents, right? So I think those are some of the things that really make our marriage tick, and why we are only getting stronger and stronger and stronger with each passing year. Okay, so hopefully, third time's the charm. We have been breaking up our flow, chain of thought, because every time you're so busy that I can't get a hold of you to complete one podcast episode recording. So finally, hopefully, today's the day. Yeah,
Yeah,
third
that makes
time's the
two of
charm.
us.
Two of us in what?
Two of us in terms of being busy and getting time on each other's calendar.
Oh my god, and living in the same house. What a pity.
I know, right?
But no, in all seriousness, I know we both have a lot going on in terms of the things the things that are top of mind for us this year. So that's all well and good. Not busy in terms of keeping ourselves hustling busy, but as I like to say, aligned busy. There's a big difference, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, we did call 2024 to be our most abundant year yet.
No, you forgot the terminology.
What was the term again?
Jesus. Oh my gosh. Okay, you wait until my son gets home and you get a earful from him. When I make him repeat that for you, he's like, Dada, how could you even, bro? Forget that word.
Alright, I think that'll be more entertaining for me anyway.
Okay, so yeah, you can ask him what our word for the year is, or what the phrase that we claimed to be the forefront for us for this year. Anyway, picking up where we left off during the last conversation, I just had to listen to like the last 5 minutes before you came into my office. So, picking up where we left off last time around, I know you don't exactly remember where we left off last time around.
Yeah,
Correct
you
me if
know me
I'm
so
wrong.
well.
Of course, I do know you so well. So, we were talking about marriage, whether it is hard or not hard, etc. And we were also discussing, like you were sharing, what are some of the things that have been working amazingly well in our marriage. So if you were to sum up like top 3 things, what would you say are the things that have been working amazingly well for us to keep going even after 4 years with the same level of passion, same level of commitment, same level of love? Or the way I see it is, I feel like I keep falling for you more and more as the years pass. Maybe I don't really tell you that necessarily all the time, but that's the reality of it. So, what would you say are the top 3 things that make us come together stronger and stronger as a couple?
That's a really thoughtful question. If you were to sum up whatever we discussed and say, here are three reasons why our marriage works the way it does, I would say alignment of values, because of having a strong foundation that's based on aligned values, trust in each other, as well as a solid communication base that we rely on very often in not just understanding each other's perspective, but also as we have grown and as our identities have evolved, we've kind of had that check in with each other and made sure we understand each other's expectations, right? I mean, all in all this comes back to values. Like I could say all these are part of our values now. I think what makes us tick.
And do you agree that we continue to fall in love with each other more and more and more, or is it just me?
Just you.
Just me? Okay. All right.
No, I mean, to be honest, yeah, no, to be honest, I think just like you say, your love for me has been increasing over the 14 plus years that we've been together. I would say my how much you've inspired me has grown year on year, given the journey and the path you've taken, and you've put our whole family, and you've been a strong influence in also making sure our family is on that same path. So I would say from my standpoint it would be, with that inspiration also comes love, but I would say I've been more and more inspired by the way you've evolved and the way you're pushing yourself through, and the kind of impact you want to have on the world.
Keep going. I can keep listening. Keep going.
All right, let me get another swig of my, what is that called? I'm even forgotten the name of that alcohol now.
Baileys?
Baileys.
Oh, geez.
Wow, look at that. See how much I've stepped away from alcohol now, right?
Well,
I can't
you're
even
welcome.
recall the name Baileys. That used to be such a staple in my house all the
No,
time.
not like you were ever much of a drinker. You have always been somebody who had one or two drinks once in a while, or maybe a few more drinks if it was a New Year party or something like that. But yeah, I was just recently thinking that when I used to drink, you and I, for us, we would look forward to like a glass of wine Friday
Every Friday,
nights.
yeah,
Yeah.
pizza nights.
Yeah, pizza with a glass of wine. And you've even stopped that because since I stopped drinking, you barely ever have alcohol at home. You only
No,
get,
I don't have any alcohol at home at all. Period.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't even
That's
have any
good.
bottles at home.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic. That's in
It's only when I'm
complete
meeting friends socially I have a glass of wine.
That's in complete alignment
Yeah.
with who I am right now, and that makes me so happy. I thought there was the bottle of wine or two in the cabinet or something. That's great to know. See,
Now you know
Vicky,
all the things I've sacrificed for you.
you have hello, Mister. Excuse me. You have sacrificed nothing for me. All right, let's get the
Yeah, I
record
used to eat
straight.
meat when we were
You
when we
didn't.
started dating.
You didn't sacrifice
I
that
stopped.
for me. You did that for yourself. Okay, let's get this. Let's set the record straight. Okay, so on a serious note, though, those are some excellent points, right? Like communication, trust, and core values. I think values, values, values. I don't know how many more times we'll keep driving home the point that even in our conversation with our kids, we're talking about like values all the time, right? Hey, that is a core value of this family, or that's something that we value so much as a family, as your parents. That's exactly what we're teaching our kids too. So any relationship, whether it's a marriage or even in friendships, I think friendships can only get stronger and stronger, and you can have a lasting relationship if you share like similar values. Otherwise, I don't, for me at least, I'm at a stage in my life where unless my core values are in greater alignment with the people that I'm spending time with, I'm not at a place where I can just go spend time with people who don't have similar aligned values.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And from my perspective, I also look at it as, you having to make a choice every single day, choosing to be there for each other. It's not the choice that you made 13 or 14 years ago to spend time together, but even as you continue to evolve in your relationship, you have to choose each other every single day. And it's not a one and done agreement that you sign on one single day and that is set in stone. No, it's not at all the case. You have to continue to choose each other every single day.
Yeah, so true.
And also, yeah, this might be TMI, but we also still share great bedroom chemistry even after all these years, after 13 years of being married. And I think that's also an important part of, having a loving relationship where you feel connected, where you feel that you are a part of each other's lives physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, etc. I think that's also very essential.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there. A good chemistry in the bedroom is equally essential for showing your love in not just through your communication, but also you need to have that intimacy and closeness with your spouse that is just going to have holistically you feel connected with your spouse, right? Not just in terms of like your engagement, outside the bedroom.
Engagement, please, can you please let go of that word?
That's what came to me now.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the word that I was going for.
Engagement?
Intimacy, not engagement. Jeez, no. Intimacy. And look at you talking about holistic engagement, even though you said engagement. Anyway, I'm going to excuse you just this once for using the word engagement. But yeah, intimacy, right? That physical, emotional, and intellectual, as well as spiritual intimacy, I think is extremely important because, again, this is just from what I observe or just being in conversations where people don't give physical intimacy as much of an importance as they likely should be. Of course, yes, we all have evolving responsibilities, life gets busier, etc. But also at the same time, especially for women more than men, of course, I don't think you've been in conversations like this where it feels like almost a chore. Again, another discussion for another day, but the point that I was trying to drive home there is that all of these can only come together when you have the level of understanding that a relationship requires from the get go, right? Again, if you don't have that level of understanding of what the other person likes or dislikes or wants or is a part of something that's essential for them in their life, if you don't have that level of an understanding, everything will start to feel like a chore. Whether it is being just supportive in the way that you support each other in whatever aspect of your life is also going to start feel like a chore. And piggybacking off of that last question, the other question I also have, or this is my observation based on our own life story, is nothing else tests your relationship as much as having kids.
Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or one of you, if not both of you, becoming an entrepreneur, especially if you don't come from an entrepreneurial background. So that's one observation that I've had. What are your thoughts on that?
No, totally. I think with kids, whatever you thought was your life before, get ready for drastic change. Every kid is different. You have no idea how to anticipate things. Yes, you can be ready to be a parent, and there's lots of excitement,
No, you
but
can
there's also
never be
lots of
ready
work.
to be a parent.
No, you can ready. You can prepare yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
remember we read that book? What is that called? It's that
Yeah.
popular book about becoming a parent, getting ready for your child. So, in addition to all the excitement, your life definitely goes in a tizzy.
No, all of that, yes, while very valid, is also very cliched. I want to get to the crux of the matter. Why, or that's my opinion, that, becoming parents or being an entrepreneur is the biggest test to your relationship.
Yeah, I think you can comment on the entrepreneur stuff since
Mm-hmm.
I have not been an entrepreneur at this point.
No, but you share I mean, there's so much that you do behind the scenes as a result of me being an entrepreneur. So why are you discrediting yourself and all that you bring to the table?
I know, yeah.
That
Starting
right
starting
there,
from
that right there is the biggest test. And see, you're passing with flying colors. Because it's such a second nature for you. And okay, anyway, because I have thought about this, let me share my viewpoints on that. And you tell me what you think, or if you
have anything to add.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So the reason I say becoming an entrepreneur, exactly for the same reasons, right? It tests your relationship from all aspects. Like, not only are you going through your own tests when you become an entrepreneur, because everything is on display. Every strength of yours, every weakness of yours, everything that you're critical about yourself or scrutinizing about yourself, everything is on display for you to see. Forget about the rest of the world, right? And not just for you to see, for your partner to see too, because that's exactly what you get to witness: the highs and the lows of being an entrepreneur, the frustrations that come with it, the long hours, the lack of results when you're putting in so much work. All of those do happen before you actually get to a place where you're actually seeing the results that you want to see. But that's not easy. That doesn't happen overnight. It's been a journey for us, right? And I don't have an entrepreneurial background, neither do you.
That
None
sounds
of
like
us.
exactly the experience I went through when I was applying for my MBA.
What? Are you diminishing my all of these? You just
No,
diminished all of
no.
that. But true, absolutely true,
Remember
right?
when I had to write my life story in my
No,
essay? I was going
1000%.
through, yeah.
No,
See,
that's
like,
exactly what I mean. When you're trying to do things out of the norm, out of the ordinary, is when you are looking at everything through a microscope, is what I feel, right?
no, that's
That's
a
the
fantastic point.
entrepreneurial journey, right? And that is the biggest test, because it shows you how good you are together with each other. Because there have been days, weeks, months, years, over the years, where I have not felt great about what I've been doing, because I've not been seeing the results that I wanted to see back then, right? And also, don't forget even the results, the frustration with tech. Right? There have been so many weekends where you have, oh, that's the sacrifice that you've made. I'll give that to you. Where you've had to sacrifice your weekends, like months together, when we were trying to figure out how to even build my website. And for us, it was like back then we still didn't have a baby, right?
Nor ChatGPT.
Right? So you had to, you were not like you knew how to build a website, so you would sit there, spend your weekends, try to learn, try to figure everything out, and then you would just spend hours and hours and hours and weekends together. All we would do is work on my website, only to figure out that what we want to do, one thing is not working, and it took us like weeks to figure out. Do you even remember like the trivial, I still remember, one Facebook integration was not working on my website, and you spent so much time troubleshooting that. And that's just a small aspect of it, right? All that to say, you're not making the money yet. You're not, again, all of these things are on display. So much support, so much understanding, so much love, so much care. Sometimes there are like longer hours than you would actually even put, not sometimes, so many times you're working so much more in your business than you would ever do at a corporate job, right? It's just the reality, because it's again your baby and you're giving your all. So unless you have that strong bond, connection, understanding, unconditional love and unconditional support, that's exactly what I feel like I've always gotten from you ever since I got on this journey. And that is the true test for any relationship. Like, how willing are you to be there as that backbone, as that rock, as that pillar of support and strength for the other person as they're going through this journey? And this is not for the faint of heart, and this is not an easy journey, right? We still, like, you still see me go through so many ups and downs, and it's just an ongoing journey of a lifetime. So that's my take on that, on the entrepreneurial journey being one of the toughest or the biggest, hardest tests that you can, go through in your relationship.
All excellent points. I also remember while we struggled through that, even in making small changes, we equally celebrated the wins. The excitement of having launched our website or having made those minor changes or having completed those integrations also gives wins to celebrate. So I feel that brought us closer together, and which is possibly why I didn't think of that as a sacrifice, right? And we're still going through that because you're still on your entrepreneurial journey, and
Which I'll be for the rest of my life. Just FYI, in
yeah,
case you were ever wondering. Yeah.
and now we have our kids to celebrate it with. Remember when you launched your podcast and how excited our son got when you told him you wanted him on your podcast for one of those
Yeah.
episodes, right?
Yes. You were not
So
here. So,
yeah,
yeah.
so I'm glad that while it does lead to up and downs, there is lots to learn from that, and we're able to share our learnings with our kids. And I mean, they get to learn by being a part of it and observing their mom go through this journey. rather than assume things on their own, that mom is somebody who's always available to play with us, or that I think the sense of responsibility and the focus that it takes to be an entrepreneur and to invest in your own business and to say you are more than being a parent, it's something our kids get to witness firsthand by going through that in the early part of their life. So I do hope it is inspirational for them, as I find you inspiring.
Keep saying more nice things like that. No, 1000%. Not just, yeah, for a relationship, to test a relationship, it's also like as parents, like I was saying. Becoming parents in and of itself is a big test. Every parent will agree to that, right? And the reason I see that to be a big test is like, even when it comes down to, we talk so much about values, and if we are not aligned on our values, and if we are not aligned on what's important to us as parents or as individuals, what are we going to impart to our kids? What we are going to impart to our kids is, again, at the end of the day, going to be uncertain and, unaligned or misaligned rather, where you are not aligned as a couple, which shows in your relationship. And that's what our kids are going to pick up on as well. And also, when it comes to like sharing responsibilities, yes, I'm a mom, I should be doing all of these things, but also, why should I be the one doing all of these things, right? Again, you're not exposed to this, where us moms are supposed to feel guilty for 100 million things when it comes to your kids, but you've never made me feel guilty. Not that I would feel guilty if you ever made me feel guilty as a mom for doing something or not doing something. You've never differentiated between your responsibility and my responsibility and said that, hey, as a mom, you're supposed to do this, or as a dad, this is not my responsibility, right? You've always stepped up, you've always been an equal partner, and you do just as much for the kids, if not more, as much as I do for the kids. And again, that's why I was saying, as a woman, because the society expects so much more from you when you're a mom than when you're a dad. No dad walks around saying, I'm guilty as a dad, but you will see, you fire up social media right now and go through posts, and or even search hashtag mom guilt, you will see hundreds and thousands of posts where moms are feeling guilty about every damn thing that we do. Again, biggest test is having that understanding and that sharing equal responsibility among two people who are parents is so crucial, and is also the biggest test, as I was saying, for your relationship. Yeah, so for us, it was a double whammy where we got tested on both fronts at the same time, because I was becoming an entrepreneur on the same time that we were thinking of starting a family.
100% agree. And with the experience that our kids are going through, and seeing how their parents are codependent on each other while their mom is an entrepreneur, going on to build and do great things. I do hope that this is an inspiration for our kids, and they learn. I mean, we all know kids learn by seeing, not by what you tell them to do. They learn in the presence of, and they'll follow the actions that you show more than do the actions that you ask them to. So my only hope is that our kids are taking away the right set of takeaways from this, and they live their life in aligned with those kinds of values.
Yeah, from that perspective, I feel proud in a way that this is the only life they knew. Like our son, ever since he was born, this is the only lifestyle that he's been exposed to, where I have my boundaries, where I say that, hey, go ask your dada whatever you want right now. I'm closing my office door. You're not coming in here and knocking at my door, because I need to get these things done. And like setting those boundaries and helping him understand that, not even helping, he doesn't expect, as a mom, he doesn't expect anything different from me than he does from you. The expectations from our kids are just the same, whether it is from you or from me. And that was very important for us, like from the get-go, that we are a household where we share equal responsibilities, and there is no gender bias when it comes to like, these are the things only a man or only a boy should do, versus these are the things that only a mom or only a girl should do, right?
That's so true.
Again, leading by example, something that we didn't get to see from our previous generations, right? And one other thing that was coming to mind when I was talking about this is us taking as much time as we did before we decided to have our first kid. That was a very conscious decision that we made, that, hey, we wanted to spend X number of not hours, X number of years just with each other, not having the responsibility of taking care of another human. getting to know each other, doing the things that we love doing, traveling the world, right? We traveled as much as we wanted to. That became such a part of our lifestyle and life. That's a lifestyle that our kids are getting to witness as well.
Yeah, we're continuing that lifestyle now, right?
Yeah. So the point that I wanted to make there was one of the things that I heard, Tani, if you did too, is from our older generations, from our parents' generations, one of the things that you get to hear is, if this is especially what I watched on TV, was if you're a man and if you are, not responsible enough, one of the things they drive home is get that person married, get that man married, and he'll get responsible. Worst advice ever. Okay, if you've not figured out your life before you get married, your marriage is gonna hit rock bottom. Okay, maybe not 100% of the times, but for the majority of, majority of the times, given like we've lived through marriage for 13 years. And the other worst advice that I've seen is, if the marriage is the couples are having a rocky relationship, one other advice they get is, have a kid and everything else will be fine, everything else will be fixed. Again, one of the worst advice that you can ever get, because if you two are not a well-oiled machine, if you don't understand each other, if there is no love between you two, if there is no respect and supporting each other before you have kids, after you have kids, it's only going to get that much worse. So I wanted to drive home the point that if new couples, people thinking of, getting married, or newlyweds, take your time before you choose to have your kids. Have that solid foundation in your relationship, because that's something that I've truly, truly appreciated about our relationship, and I truly think has made a world of difference for us in the way that we parent our kids, and in the way we show up for each other, and also in the way we show up for our family.
That's so true. If I had a dime for every time my parents asked about our kids before we had them,
Yeah.
I'd have been rich by now. But that's so true. I think we were really conscious in giving ourselves at least 5 years, while we kind of kept the plan for that open. We knew we wanted to travel, we wanted to experience adventure. And one other key decision that we made during that time was also me going through the MBA, right? Which basically, I think we were thinking it was time to start planning a family. And that's when I remember you put your foot down and made sure I made the decision instead of continuously evaluating and reevaluating the pros and cons. And honestly, I think if it weren't for that, I probably would have delayed it at least by another year. Lo and behold, eventually everything fell in place, and I finished my MBA, walked out with a job. We relocated to Seattle, and as planned, we planned our family soon after that. Right? So I feel like and almost we began a new chapter. Like, we ended our chapter in the East Coast, and we moved to the West Coast for the first time. We embarked on this, new journey of parenthood. And, now 2 kids later, now we are kind of redoing that all over again with our baby daughter, who's already spoiled thanks to her loving brother and her parents who kind of spoil her rotten. When I reflect back on our decision of being conscious of, when we had our first kid and when we had our second kid, I'm really grateful for the place we are in right now.
Yeah, who knew that we were gonna have two strong-willed kids? And yeah, they're both their own personality, and they both know what they want, and they will not take no for an answer, and they know how to get stuff done. On that note, as it always goes, we realize that hubby is right on time for his next meeting, so we will resume the recording of part 3 of the series real soon. Until then, please write to me and let me know what you've been loving about this series, what's been resonating with you, what have been some of your takeaways. I'm so looking forward to hearing from you and learning all about that. And also, we will see you right back on here real soon with more juicy details in this series, because oh my gosh, the conversation is just getting started. Thank you for joining me on another episode of this podcast. I appreciate your time, your presence, your commitment, and your willingness to embark on this journey of self discovery, transformation, and manifestation. If anything you heard today resonated with you, sparked new insights, or brought about aha moments, I'd love to hear all about them. So please share your thoughts by tagging me on social media at Passion Purpose, Passport, and follow me there for more inspiring content and connection. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and show your support by liking, reviewing, and sharing this podcast. The more good we share with the world, the more the universe unfolds its magic for us. It's not just good karma, it's the universal law, aka Manifestation 101. By the way, you will receive my free manifestation meditation as a token of gratitude for sharing your reviews on iTunes. Take a screenshot before submitting and send it to my team at manifest@passionpurposepassport.com. On that note, align your mind, body, heart, and soul with your deepest desires for limitless possibilities. Remember, every step you take, every action you choose ripples through the universe, shaping the reality you wish to experience. Until next time, keep basking in the brilliance of your inner golden hour and keep manifesting miracles.